Hey guys, I get asked a lot what happened to my body modification advice kind of videos, um, and I just kind of stopped making them because a lot of people were telling me they didn't like them, but I guess you guys did. So here's an advice video, and it's going to be regarding discharging any piercing you have, especially if you're younger. Um, I know a lot of kids that they walk into the mall or whatever and they see someone like me with some stretched ears and they're like, "Oh, that looks cool. Look at the jewelry they can wear in it." And you know, all of that. Or you go into stores like Hot Topic where I work and you see the body jewelry case and you're like, "Oh, that looks super cool. I'm going to do that." My job is to sell body jewelry, but not without giving you guys advice first. My best advice for you is before you stretch, definitely do some research. I started stretching when I was 12 years old, knew nothing about it, made a whole bunch of mistakes. Looking up how to do the process correctly and safely is really important because you can really mess up your ears if you don't do it properly. Also know that once you get to a certain size, there's no going back. Anything after a 2 gauge, uh, you really can't go back. It'll never close all the way unless you get surgery, and surgery is quite costly. And I know there's a lot of people who stretch really big and get surgery just so they can do the process again, but for most people that's not practical. Also, doing research on if you do decide that you want to do it, that you can do it safely and that you want a profession where you can have stretched ears. Looking up the history on it is going to be your best way to get your parents to realize that it's not a phase. It might be a phase for you, it might not. But to get them to accept the fact that you want to do it, looking up the history of it is really, number one, interesting for you, interesting for anybody who asks you about your stretch ears, and it's also the best way to get your parents to accept it because they realize it's not something new, it's something that's been around for a long time and it does have meaning behind it. So yeah, that's gonna be some advice for you. And then you can also turn that into a school project. I did. Um, so yeah. Um, Other than that, just making sure you have the proper tools to do so, to do the process, making sure you have the right oils, the right lubricants, the right kind of tape when you get to the point where you can't use tapers anymore. Even though using tapers isn't the best way to stretch, it's probably the easiest way to do it at smaller sizes. So making sure you have the right size tapers, the right material taper. Using acrylic is going to cause more friction, and it's also not the best thing to use in your ears. I'm wearing acrylic right now, but that's because my ears are healed. They've been 1 inch for like months. But making sure you get metal tapers, that everything you're using to stretch your ears is clean and sterile, and that you know how to make sea salt soak, that you know what the benefits of it are, that you know how to massage your ears, that you know why you need to put oil on them, that you make sure that you wear a hat that keeps them warm in the winter because you could get frostbite. There's a lot of things that people don't think about that you really need to when you get into this process. I really wish when I was younger that I knew how to do this properly and safely. I really wish that I knew that my ears can get frostbite. My ears can get really dry, like especially in this year. Like especially in this area, you can get really super dry and crack, and it's not fun. Knowing that you can pop your ears, you can get blowouts, knowing what ripped ears and blowouts are. I didn't know any of that, and I didn't know it was possible. And when I was really young and I was stretching at small sizes, I thought it was normal to bleed, and it's not. a lot of people think, oh, well, I'm putting this through my ear and it's pretty big, it's gonna bleed. That's not true. If it bleeds, you did it wrong. Um, and I'm gonna tell you that YouTube is not necessarily the best place to learn how to stretch your ears. I've seen some pretty horrible stretching videos on YouTube, as well as joke stretching videos that people take seriously, that they think you can go from like a 16 gauge to like a 00 gauge in one stretch. That's stupid and it's fake and it doesn't happen that way. And people that stretch their ears with straws or with household objects, it's dangerous. It's not good. Don't do it. If you're going to stretch your ears, definitely go to a tattoo parlor. Talk to one of the piercers there. They're there to help you, and even if you just go in to talk to them, they're super nice. Everybody thinks the people that work at tattoo parlors aren't nice, and they are. They're just people like you and me. Just go in, ask them, be like, I'm thinking about stretching my ears. Can you tell me, like, what I need to know, or give me an information packet about what I need to know? Because I've heard a lot of mixed things. That, or you could go on legit body modification websites. Just make sure you're doing it right, because if you're doing it wrong, even if you don't go past 2 gauge, if you did it wrong, if you ripped your ears, they're not going to close, and that's going to suck if you want them to go back. Also, think about your job. I know I have a really, really hard time finding a job with my ears being the way that they are. My ears are stretched to 1 inch. When I go for a job interview, I put in smaller plugs. I put in a 3/4 inch plug that looks like a button earring. I don't know if you guys know what a button earring is. It's an earring that has a really big front on it. I put in plugs that look like that, or plugs that look nice. And I don't really have long hair to cover it anymore, so I can't get away with a hider plug because they don't necessarily match my ears. But I'm having a hard time finding a job, and I was lucky to get a job at Hot Topic. Hot Topic's a small store, and usually it's overstaffed. And I have a seasonal job that'll get me retail experience that will help me to get a job somewhere that might not necessarily hire people with stretched ears, but if I have enough experience and I have a very good reference from my old job, then maybe I will get a job there. It's all things you need to think about, and I know it sucks and you're young and you think, oh, I just want to do this, I'm not going to care, like, I'm going to live for the moment type of thing. It's not an I'm going to live for the moment type of thing. It's not like a septum piercing that I can just flip it up in and it's gone. It's not like that. I can't flip my ears up and they look like normal. So it's definitely something to think about. And my best advice for you is to look it up. Talk to your parents, be open with them. Do not hide it from them, because if they make you take it out, you wasted a butt ton of money. Make sure you know the investment you're making. Make sure that you know how to do the process properly, and make sure you think about your future when you're doing it, because I know a lot of people have screwed themselves over, and I thought I would be a tattoo artist by now, and it didn't happen that way because I don't have the money to make it go that way. And now I'm struggling to find a job in retail with my ears the way they are. So definitely think about it. Because as much as I love my piercings, my tattoos, and my stretched ears, as much as I would never give them up for anything in the world, I wish I knew what I knew now. That's all I'm saying. So that's my kind of body modification advice for you guys. And the same goes for microdermals, because taking them out is really, really difficult, and you're going to have a gnarly scar when you're done taking them out. So make sure that if you're going to get that microdermal right here, make sure you think about it first, because they're not very accepted either. So yeah, bye guys.